When was the last time you saw anything positive related to marriage online or in culture or in media? I was just thinking about that. I'm a product of the 80s. I'm a Gen X guy. And growing up, there was a lot of TV shows back then that had families in a positive light. And you just don't see that a whole lot anymore. And I wanted to talk about that in this episode. Why is that? I've been married for 20 years and I've got a great marriage, got a great wife, great kids, and I couldn't be happier. And why don't you see somebody like me on a Netflix show or these reality TV shows, right? Why is that? I want to talk about the psychology of that a little bit. Honestly, this last year of doing YouTube and doing some podcasting, I've learned a lot about online culture and just people in general in 2025. And marriage, it can be a little bit boring if you're talking about day-to-day life and everything, but if you look at it from a 10,000-foot view, it could be beautiful. But unfortunately, it's perceived as being boring, okay? Or mundane or outdated, traditional, what have you. Well, it doesn't have to be. You know, I think a lot of the perception um, today now, especially like if you're talking about Netflix movies, this click to play type stuff, clickbait is just dominating. It's just dominating on social media platforms and just about everything. And I really think it just appeals to the darker side of humanity. It's that same instinct that we have when we're driving on the road and you see a car wreck. You know, some people just can't help themselves to slow down and rubberneck for 30 minutes, right? When it's really just a little fender bender. It's not a really big deal. You know, it's about the taboo. It's about the anything that's forbidden, right? The forbidden fruit. Talking about original sin here, right? Are human beings just incapable of being happy? That's not true. There's a lot of people out there that are happy, but it just doesn't make for good TV, right? Doesn't make for good Netflix movies because people are looking for the taboo and the spicy to spice up their life, right? It's all about entertainment. I was trying to think about it too, where last time I saw some TV show that had a marriage in a positive light and family in a positive light was really the mid to maybe early 80s. The Cosby Show, Family Ties. These TV shows were great. They were well done and funny, and it was great. What happened to TV shows like that, right? And it's funny too because Cosby Show, Bill Cosby actually got arrested for drugging women to have sex with them. So, you know, it doesn't have to be the actual person that's putting on the TV show, right? It's the fantasy. Who wouldn't want a good marriage and a spicy marriage and a fun marriage, right? I think that would make for excellent TV. I'm not a producer, so I don't produce these kind of things, but I could give you some ideas if you're listening. It's really just all about clickbait. Everything that I see on social media, everything that you see out there, it's about appealing to that to the darker side and the taboo and seeing something that you're not supposed to see. I think that's where a lot of this comes from. Where, say, for instance, when I put out a positive video about how to keep a marriage hot and fun, it'll get, 100 clicks. But if I talk about adultery and cheating and the bad stuff about marriage, it'll have 250,000 views. You could look at my stuff. That's basically kind of how it is. And people figure that out pretty quickly that if you put out positive stuff, uplifting stuff, it has a tendency not to generate the clicks. And I think that's the main reason why we don't see a whole lot of the stuff that I would want to see. Okay. What does a healthy relationship look like? What does a healthy marriage look like? A fun marriage, a sexy marriage, It's funny because you're probably thinking to yourself, like, I wouldn't really want to watch that, right? Well, why is that? It's because you're programmed to see the negative crap, the and the clickbait. You're just programmed to click on that stuff, and it's not your fault, okay? And am I trying to change the culture? Not really. I'm just a realist, and I just see it for what it is. But it could be different. I mean, it could be different, and it's really unfortunate that we are where we are, but it is what it is, right? So with my stuff, I'm gonna continue to put out the positive stuff, the positive messages. Marriage is not dead. Uh, I know plenty of people that have awesome marriages. They're really good people. A lot of really good friends that make it work and have been making it work for decades. It's not a mystery, okay? What makes a good marriage, right? Well, take a look at my material. I'm gonna continue pumping it out as long as you keep clicking it, and it's what it is. Just wanted to get that off my chest, and I just wish it were different, folks. And you know, maybe this can change for you. Maybe it can change the fact that if you see clickbait, just ignore it. It's easy to see once you see it. Once you get your mentality right and you program yourself to just to ignore the clickbait garbage, it's easy to do. So there you have it. Marriage is great. And I wish there was a TV show or a Netflix movie that would actually show that, but I don't really see that happening anytime soon. But one can hope. So if you like this material, please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate everybody that's done that. If you want to leave a comment, ask me questions, or tell me I'm full of garbage, be my guest. Okay. So until next time, be better than you were yesterday and be desirable.